Y'all do know, because of people that don't know, I'm on Emerson Bay Boat Works. I'm the owner builder, and I was asked to come up and do a little demo today. And the only thing I could think of that might have been worthy of your attention is with the keels and wheels coming forward next week or two. There are people that are planning on getting their boat ready for it, and in order to go to keels and wheels, that show carries a level on your boats that some people don't usually get when they're at a rendezvous. So what I wanted to do today is try to show what it's like to go from a standard, pretty much very nice finish, but go through the series of steps of a wet sanding and a buffing, and I've got a demonstrated piece here. Now, this could be mayhem before it's all over with, so let's just be patient with it. There's a lot of tools that you use if you want to wet sand and buff your boat, and my initial investment was about $500. And that $500 was the buffer, the sander, and all the finesse sanding, buffing, and these things. So, if you want to get into doing your boat, you're going to look at purchasing about $500 worth of material. One of them is this Makita, and this is used for the buffing part of it. And you can get this at Home Depot. It's got a variable speed here because you want to keep your buffing pad speed low to keep the heat down, okay? Now with this, you use two different pads. One pad is used for the actual cutting, very good, and the other is used for polishing. So you won't use a cutting pad for your polish. You use each pad designated for its own purpose. And some of these pads come in different sizes too, for a 5-inch or a 6-inch or a 3-inch, depending upon if you want to get really close into an area around hardware. Now I'm going to pass these down. These are some buffing pads that are 6-inch. The yellow one's a heavy cutting, and this one is a heavy polishing. But pull them out, look at them, and see what you think about them. And in that respect, I'm also going to pass these down here. These are some 3-inch pads that I was able to purchase off the Amazon. And I usually use these for really fine detailing work around a really tight area. So you'll end up getting a 6, 5, or 3 to cover all the different areas you might be able to get into. One of the other machines that I use is this beauty, and I like it a lot. And this is a random orbital sander, all right? So that when I'm sanding, the process is to polish out the scratches to a point to where the reflectivity is just like a mirror. And that's where we're trying to go to. All right, so I'm gonna pull all this stuff out and get it ready. Because I got a board here that I brought from the shop. All right, now this board here is a piece of mahogany, and it's called a waterfall mahogany. And we had this manufactured for us by Wood Gallery here in Dallas, Texas, right off Walnut Hill. They develop architectural panels on a Baltic birch plywood that we use for a lot in boating building because of the stability. We had a piece left over, and looking at this piece, it looks pretty nice, but I want y'all to look at it, and I want you to see the reflectivity of the lights above, okay?
Orange wheel.
Right on, because we have probably about 12 coats of finish on this board. So what we're going to try to do is we're going to take all that out. One of the things that we're trying to do, okay, I'm going to pop this one on right up here. One of the things that I'm trying to do with this board is I want to go ahead and try to get all the orange peel that's out of this. When you have a surface that is rough in this nature, when light reflects down onto it, because of the roughness of the structure, those light rays go in many different directions. What we're about to do is we're going to tape off half this board, and I'm going to work this half through the process of going through a 2,000, 3,000, 5,000 grit sand, and then we're going to buff it with a finesse. It's a kind of a cutting, but it's not really.
1, 2, or 3.
Yeah, we're gonna go with 1
Okay,
and
that's
2.
what I use.
And 3 is your polisher, but I really don't need to go that deep on this.
If you'd have told me you was gonna do this, I could have brought my boat for you to demonstrate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we didn't want to stand in the parking lot.
All right, so kind of, there's all these different ways that you can do this, okay? And the way I'm doing it, other people do it different. Okay. These things right here, you get 15 to a box. And there are 15 of these sanding pads. I'm gonna pass this 3,015.
I get 50.
Okay, that's fine. What I'm trying
Don't
to say
interrupt.
in the process of this is that for 15, you're paying $80 for this box.
Wow.
Okay, for the 5,000 for 15 of these pads, I'm paying $100. Okay, so you can understand why when you make this commitment to this material, you're going to use it, and you better use it right because it's expensive.
Amazon.
I go through a Napa dealership. I got a friend of mine that does mine real well. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is take this off right here, and that's it, because I want to work. Scott, you'll take that side over there for me. I'm going to work this side here because it's easier for me. All right. There we go. All right, guys. I'm going to plug this in. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start sanding down to a consistency. The first pad I'm going to do is going to be a 2,000. Some people start with 15. I'm going to go with 2. That's what I have right here.
Put some water.
Got it already. All right.
This is where the magic happens.
Where it happens, folks. Right here. Wet sand a little bit. This on here. You guys can't see this, but I'm not going to say that you can't stand up and come over here and look at this. But what you're doing is I'm really taking a very thin layer off.
Cut the tops off the mountains.
That's it. And there you see, in this coloration, we've already dulled it down very nicely. Okay, and that's just about as far as I went time-wise. That's about it.
Yeah.
You want to work a section probably about as big as what I have on the table. And beyond anything getting that big, it kind of get out of hand. I use these very little and throw them away. They will, they lose their grit and they become higher and they're polishing where I don't want it to polish. All right, we've already gone through a 2,000 grit.
The importance is the water.
Yeah, always the water. Now there are some that are coming out now that are, I have 3,000 here.
Oh, it's the one that's going around.
There you go, that's the
There
one.
it is.
The only one I have. They are coming out now with these that are dry, not wet. It's a really, it's very new. A lot of the automobile guys are using it.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Robert Jackson, the guy that's doing the boat up there, man, that guy, he's a car man. And he's taking his car stuff and putting it over the boat industry. And what he is doing is phenomenal. I'm over there and I've been watching what he's got. He's way ahead of us. But he is, and those of you that go to Kills and Wheels and see his work will be stunned by what he's doing. And we've been talking to him about what he needs to do. All right, not to go that, now I'm going with a 3,000 grit. Again, I'm going to go ahead and put water on there as the lubricant. 3,000. Y'all see the way this thing's working? This thing is not only going like this, but it's spinning too. And that gives the scratches out of this thing. Of course, when you're working with 3,000, it's pretty much taking those scratches out of itself. Okay. That off.
I'm watching the stripes, I'm watching the stripes and that shade, and it's getting sharper and sharper.
All right, so as what we're doing is we're eliminating the scratches from the higher grit, polishing the scratches out. We've taken all the orange peel out, and now what we're doing is we're scratching finer and finer and finer to the point that when we polish it with this polishing buffer, all scratches will be out. Well, the test will be in the pudding here in a second.
Yep.
All right, most people work with 15, 2, and 3,000. Then they'll hit the number 1, finesse. This is a very good product right here. All the guys know about it. It works real well. You have a number 1, you have a 2, and a 3, going to finer grit each time. Now, most people in their boating will stop where they're at with 15, 2, and 3. I go higher. The reason why I go higher is because if you're working with 15, 2, and or 3, and then you hit it with the butt, there's a possibility you could burn the varnish. Okay, and that's one of the things you have to be real careful at is the heat generating on this buffing pad. Okay. I go to 5,000 because that eliminates a lot of the pressure and or time that this thing is going to be beating up here against the heat wires. So in my case, I throw 5,000 on, which is in essence what this is. This is about a 5,000 grit. And I chose to go ahead and use the pad in my case because I feel like I get just one little bit better protection from burning the varnish in case you get too hot. I varnished a boat one time. 3 days later, I touched it, and I mean, it wadded it up because they not cured, and the heat hit it, and it just had to start all over on a little section. I usually let my things cure for 7 days before I will touch it with any kind of buffing action. Okay, here we go with 5,000. Not a whole lot of pressure. I'm just letting it ride itself on here. I'm just barely guiding it. Let the machine do the work. Okay. When I'm doing this, I got lights on, okay? The nice thing about this, you gotta have lights so you can see what you've done and how much further you have to go. So I'm doing a lot of this by feel. I'm looking at it, searching at it, I'm taking the time when I think it would be, and then I'm gonna go into the next step. All right, now you can see the clarity we have here as far as the gloss, and now we have that very dull sheen. From this angle right here, just a little bit, go ahead and unclip that. I want you to try to do one thing here.
Oh, wow.
Gloss, dull.
Tip it back a little bit.
Dull,
There you
clear.
go. Yeah, you gotta
Okay,
catch
a little
these
bit
lights.
forward. You guys see how I'm doing that? All right, now let's go to the next piece. Stop. Go ahead and pop that one more time. Have the tape around here somewhere.
It's under your rag.
There you go. Now, we've done all the sanding we want to do. We've done it just that quick, wasn't a whole lot to do. Now I'm going to do the buffing. Here it is. particular model
Well,
has it right here for your speed on the RPM. Me, I floated about 2.5.
Wow.
That's fast. I'm down about 2.5. First one I'm gonna do with my finesse number 1 is I'm gonna do the cutting with this.
you dropped your name badge, bro.
Okay, I'm excited about this.
Yeah.
This is where I like this stuff. When I was doing boat building, I have a shop, a wood shop. Particulates everywhere. Can't get in that shop without doing some sort of particulates flowing from the shop. So doing this was able for Emerson Bay Boat Works to take his work to the next level as far as getting particulates out for good shows. That's number 2. That's number 1. There's 3. Now this pad is designed for this particular material right here.
For the benefit of our studio audience, say the name of that material.
This is a 3M.
3M Perfected.
Would you please?
3M Perfected number 1. Perfected, actually EXAC. The EX means that it stays moist longer, so you can work it with your pad a lot longer than you could the regular old Perfected. But they have a 1, which is the coarsest, and then 2, which is finer, and 3, which is finer.
Fine.
Yep.
Number 1 is the
Great
coarsest.
stuff. I use it all the time.
All right, now this is where we may sling a little.
Yeah.
Watch yourself. Yes, sir.
Let me get out.
You're using the wool as opposed to the foam.
Correct.
Yeah.
For this
Start.
step, for this
So
step.
you
For
start-
this step.
To
Okay.
start.
Okay.
It's the best
Now,
cutting.
I like to spread it around, kick it a little bit once or twice. There you go.
That's 250 RPM? No, 12. Not 12. He said 25. I don't think that's 25.
Two is a setting.
Huh?
It's a setting number, I don't think it's an
Oh,
R.
2.5. It's about 1200.
How you work an edge is important too.
Yep. Secrets don't do it fast for your burning.
I'm just wanting it to polish out the finer scratches.
I've been doing this on cars for 50 years. I'm so glad to see folks beginning to do it.
From what I see right now, I'm okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Now,
Looks like a mirror on it.
okay, well, I got one more step I want to do, and we'll be done.
I'm looking at that shade.
Smells good.
Crystal clear.
Number 2.
You do all the way down to 1 today?
I do not go to 3.
I mean 3, I mean
When I do number 2,
2's enough.
that's pretty much it.
That's kinda the way
way too much.
That's the way I feel too.
All right.
Yeah.
You did, yeah.
All right, came out more than I
I'm
wanted it
leaving
to.
the room.
All right.
Do we have some napkins?
Hold up. Yeah, napkin.
He's gonna sling that shit everywhere.
Let me do this right here. No, y'all are safe.
Edgar to the rescue.
Way too much, okay? Thank you, sir. A different pad that's designed for this one only.
Like that. This is all on varnish. Varnish is so much softer than lacquer and
Yes,
enamel and
that's the
poly.
deal we have to deal with is
Yeah.
because of our softness
Yeah.
as opposed to the acrylics.
Exactly. Good demonstration, Jerry.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
it's
Been living here forever. It's cool to see it on wood.
pass it down the line.
Oh yeah. God, I can see that chandelier like it's a mirror.
Wow. Rocking back and forth left to right a little
Huge
bit.
difference. Huge difference.
Yeah.
We've been doing this on old cars forever, but boats are.
Jay, you're
just
doing
now
this on the final coat. What are you about the, if you're putting on 6, 7, 8, 10 coats of varnish,
That's right.
what are you doing as on those intermediate coats?
Okay, that's very good. 9 times out of 10, when you get the can of varnish you have, read the back of the instructions. It'll tell you what you want to do in an application. Epiphanes, I enjoy Epiphanes.
Right.
I use it because their products are far ranging and that many applications for their varnish can be used from build up to high gloss to things. Depending upon the manufacturer, I go 3, 4, 5 layers before I really sand it smooth to get the orange peel out. As per recommendation, some varnish manufacturers want you to go 2 or 3 coats without sanding. You can build up if you do it within a certain amount of time. Some coats say every 24 hours you've got to let it dry and you have to sand before you put the next coat on. Depending upon what you want in the application process. The build-up process for me, I'll go 3 or 4 or 5 coats, then I'll sand it down a nice level with 320. And then I'll go ahead and build the coats back up till I get to the point where I'm painting the lines. I will sand the whole boat, paint the lines, put one more coat of varnish on, and that is it. And after that sits for 7 days, then we go in and try to buff it right there. And that's the process we're going
Give it a full week. Everything.
I'll give it a full week for sure.
Yeah.
Thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Wow.
Very much.